Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Keep the Community Fed podcast. This is episode 4, season 2. And we have our very special guest, someone who you have heard from before. Ideally, if you listen to our podcast regularly, our very own operations coordinator, Joey. Welcome back.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good to be back.
And then, of course, the folks that make this podcast possible, Randy Wynn, our community engagement and marketing manager.
Yep.
And Jefferson Rose, our development and communications director.
All right. Season 2, episode 4. Let's go.
Yay. So on our mini episode for today, we kind of just wanted to reflect on the first quarter of 2026 and what has been happening here at White Center Food Bank. It is kind of hard to believe that we're, already past the first quarter of the year and summer is upon us very quickly. As the saying goes, time flies, especially a older millennial like me, it feels like it goes by so fast. So, we have our operations coordinator here. So tell us, Joey, what have you been seeing in the first quarter of the year?
Yeah, we're seeing on the operations side, big numbers. Every month we're setting records. So, for those of you who don't tune in often, we have been growing steadily. And every month we're setting a new record for families served. With that comes obviously an increased need for food. And our big spending priorities when it comes to spending our own funds or grant money is often going to be focused on produce as well as proteins. And so we used to get a lot of those back when I started about 3.5 years ago. We got a lot of produce and proteins from partner organizations or TFAP, all of that stuff. We still get that and they still provide a lot, but I would say that number has gone down. So our spending has gone up. And it's gone up pretty significantly. We had a really great year last year, and we were able to get our cost per pound of produce pretty low. And it's still low this year, but because of all kinds of things going on in the world, that cost per pound has gone up, and we're spending more every month than we did last year. That's partially because we are seeing more people, but also because prices are just higher.
Yeah, what kind of price differential are you seeing about?
Yeah, so I would say last year we were probably averaging on a distribution day, we'd be spending about $600 to $900 on produce. And now that number is generally above 1,000. I'd say we're shooting between 1,000 and 1,400 daily.
Wow.
1,400 is the high end.
Wow.
Those are going to be the really, really, I would say Mondays or days when we have a bunch of ancillaries. So days where we do Arrowhead, home delivery, we have to account for more numbers. And we're not seeing stuff come in like we used to, where I could depend on a pallet of apples or a pallet of oranges, among a bunch of other things from different organizations. And so we are ordering those ourselves now. I'd say that I need to get a percentage number on this, but I'd say at least 50% of our produce is coming from our own procurement at this point.
Yeah, you had done such a tremendous job last year getting our price per pound down to 50 cents, right?
Yeah.
And if you got our spring appeal, you'll see that information included in the annual report. And then if you're curious at looking, Joey had put together this really interesting kind of spreadsheet showing how much something for the food bank cost per pound versus what you could get in the grocery store. And that contrast was really significant in just showing how much savings we can pass on to our customers. And I think that graph and annual report will be available on our website at some point. So you could, check that out there at whitecenterfoodbank.org. I'll be really curious to see how the price increases kind of impact that price per pound, because ideally, we hope it won't impact it too much. But I mean, if you're seeing just like a $400 increase on your produce orders per day, I mean, that's substantial.
It is. And I think by the time we get to the end of the year, we'll see some of these fluctuations. I'm hoping they'll have calmed down a bit. I do think our price per pound will still be pretty good by the end of the year. And I know that when we compare to market savings, it's still going to be pretty significant, because I was in the grocery store the other day and things are getting really crazy. Like I bought 2 potatoes for like $2, which is just
like russet
nuts.
Potatoes?
Russets.
Or like,
yeah,
wow.
Russets.
Those are like usually the affordable potato.
Correct. And so like we're still getting those for a pretty good price, like 20 cents a pound or something, maybe even less for russets. But it is nice to make sure that our customers are getting more than staples. And so like at times we're going to be ordering them strawberries, mangoes. Like, well, I'll spend over $1 per pound on certain items, especially when our budget can allow for it, just to make sure that people can get things that they're excited about rather than just sort of your run-of-the-mill staples. We're also ordering a lot of eggs these days too. And so we're making sure that customers get eggs at least once a month, if not twice. And then we haven't had to do too much spending on meat yet,
Right now.
but that's something that could be changing in the future. Sort of depends what we get from TFAP and other things like SFC and things like that.
So like thinking about like this moment in the last few weeks where you're seeing pricing increases when it comes to food, like can you talk us through like how you pivot and like what goes into your decision-making process in kind of those moments where maybe it feels like you have to be a little more rigid with spending?
Yeah. I mean, it's always a hard choice. Like one of our big priorities in operations is to make sure that people coming through can leave with at least enough food to hopefully get them through the week. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when we see like a deal sheet that comes out and there's not any good deals, we have to make hard decisions. For reference, we often shop daily deals from our wholesalers. That's where they'll put out items that they have too much of, items that are special deals for 501c corporate or 501c nonprofits, that kind of stuff. And oftentimes you can get stuff significantly under market value at the same quality you would get it in the store. But recently those prices have been higher because of the energy crisis we're having. To answer the question, I think often what I'll do in these situations is I used to always order basically day of, food for the day of. It was always safe to assume we'd find deals that were really good for the next day. Nowadays, when I see a deal that's really good, I jump on it. Like I'll be ordering for multiple days worth of food rather than say for one day.
Gotcha.
Other things we'll do is we know that like mid and end of summer, we'll be getting a lot of stuff from local farmers. So sometimes we'll pivot funding and say like, we can spend more right now when there's not much coming out of the ground. And we can sort of bank on the fact that we'll be getting a lot more local produce around this time. We also have a lot of amazing local farmers we're working with from all kinds of different grants that we have. And those folks are also going to start bringing us more stuff as the season goes on. So we can kind of expect stuff to come in then, which allows us to spend a bit more now when we need to. Although things have held pretty steady so far. So we'll have to see if it gets more and more expensive. But so far things feel pretty good. We haven't had to make too many hard decisions yet. I'd say we had like 1 or 2 weeks where things were pretty tight there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, well, I mean, first quarter in terms of fundraising has been really successful for us at White Center Food Bank too. Like we're already ahead in what we budgeted for revenue. So, that gives us a lot more flexibility as an organization, which we're super grateful for. And then, some grant funds had come through for this year too that we weren't necessarily expecting. So we're using a lot of those funds to kind of prioritize food purchasing because, we, as a team collectively, we recognize like we're serving more families than we've ever had to serve before. And then, the price of food has gone up so much. So we've had some really good communication, across the team about what each department is experiencing and, trying to work together to figure out how to spend this funding, especially because like our revenue, we're meeting our goals right now. So I feel pretty fortunate for us at White Center Food Bank that we're able to kind of be in this position to be able to make, these types of decisions, when so many families. I think, your story about grocery shopping the other day and having to spend $1 per potato. I think that that's something that resonates with all of us right now, right? Like, we're all seeing just our grocery prices go up. I think most of us in general are having to make like different decisions about how we're spending our grocery budget and the types of things that we're buying. Yeah. And to go back to like our service numbers, during the government shutdown last year in 2025, November was our busiest month of the year. And, this is a little outside of Q1, but April 2026 was our busiest month ever in terms of service numbers. We served almost 6,500 family visits, which is almost 1,000 more than November of 2025. And, we've just been at least 20% busier since the start of the new year, since the government shut down. And, I think what we see at the food bank is a really good indication of what's happening in the economy and the community. And it's, I don't know, it feels really challenging for so many people right now, and maybe without a reprieve in sight. So feeling especially grateful for our community and, just that we're going to, at least for now, we're going to be able to handle, kind of whatever comes our way next.
Yeah. I do feel pretty confident about us being able to weather it.
Yeah.
Even if as we increase numbers, like I do all of our procurement, but I also run our home delivery and most of our mobile food banks, and we're seeing those numbers go up too. We're bringing more folks into our home delivery program over the year as well. We're hoping to expand that. And I'm not really too worried about meeting those needs. At the bare minimum, we'll be able to get them protein and produce. Sort of no questions asked. I also feel pretty confident about the relationships we have with most of our wholesalers. We've been building those up for 3.5 years, and they are, most of them are very gracious, and they're always willing to help us out when we need it. And I will very likely be reaching out to them to see what they can offer if things get a lot worse. And we might even open up some new accounts with different wholesalers. Some promising things on the horizon with that too.
Yeah, that is exciting.
Yeah.
And we have such a great community surrounding us. Like, people really show up for us whenever we need them. And they're really consistent too, even if, something isn't necessarily immediately on fire. Like, we're seeing people, be there for us. And I think also kind of being in our region too, gives we're lucky in that sense as well, where we could be in a different part of the country and maybe not be able to weather as much as we are now.
Agreed. And we're lucky. I mean, we're lucky to have a state legislature that wants to help us as well. Randy and I were just in DC talking with other food banks, and not everyone has as fortunate a situation as we do. And so it made me feel a bit lucky to be in this organization and also to be in this state,
Yeah.
despite things being difficult right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What were you doing in DC? Tell the people what you were doing in DC.
Let me enlighten everyone. Maybe we'll have Randy say more than yo too. Randy, and Adriana, our financial manager, we were all at the National Anti-Hunger Policy Conference in DC, and we were there as the only Washington food bank in attendance, which was really nice. I mean, it was nice that we were there. I kind of wish other food banks were there, but it was nice that we were at least a food bank there representing our state. And we were there just to primarily we went to the Hill and we lobbied with FRAC.
Ooh, you're really being tested now.
Food research.
I actually don't know.
Food research. I actually don't remember the full acronym. I'm so sorry, everybody. But they were very gracious hosts. They had a bunch of panels. I'll keep talking while Carmen looks it up. Food research advocacy. I think Randy got the A. Action. Oh, action was correct.
Food Research Action Center.
Okay, well, we got there as a team. But they're food and security policy advocates who advocate for who advocate for food security measures, whether it be at state legislatures, national politics. And Randy and I were there to sort of ask our lawmakers to vote no on the farm bill that was going into the House at the time, because the farm bill has $187 billion in SNAP cuts. And obviously we don't get any SNAP money here, but if people don't get their SNAP money, they are far more likely to need food banks. And we are already seeing such high numbers that the thought of that number increasing is a bit stressful. And also people deserve their SNAP benefits. The people who are losing benefits, I mean, I don't think they deserve to lose them. And so we spoke to most of our House members, especially, or at least the ones that we are constituents of, and we spoke to our senators' aides. We didn't speak to any lawmakers. Prince Charles was there that day. King Charles.
Yeah, King Charles.
King Charles was there that day. And so we didn't get to speak to any of the actual lawmakers in person, but we spoke to some of their senior aides. Most of them are pretty big advocates of food security and of SNAP. And so it wasn't like a hard sell to most of our representatives. And then we sat in some amazing panels as well during the conference where we learned about different policy stuff, but as we also learned about how better to prepare for ICE and how better to sort of serve our community. Yeah, that's what I've got for that. It was a really interesting conference. It was nice to be back in my hometown for a bit too.
We're looking at Randy to see if he has anything to add from his experience.
Yeah, my experience was pretty eye-opening. Just we're currently working on a trusted messenger program, so hearing some of the sessions talk about how other food banks are using that program as well to really uplift community voices is pretty eye-opening. Just being able to give the community power to make decisions for some of the food banks that's happening in the East Coast. There was the overall theme of decentralizing food banks. So just meeting people where they are rather than forcing people to come to us. It allows more access that way for people to accessing food resources. So like going to rural areas, going to your local churches, your local community centers. And so just being able to put yourself out there and having our resources come to people rather than the opposite.
Also, it was nice that we were on lobby day when we actually went onto the Hill. I mean, me, Randy, and Adriana were the only food bank in our group because we were talking to Washington lawmakers. So having those sort of stories as well as stats from what it's like on the front lines, so we'll say, was really, a lot of the lawmakers were very appreciative to have those stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So the 187 billion, yep, that's being cut from SNAP. I think I read this that so the Feeding America Network would need to double in order to be able to absorb what's lost from SNAP. So it just goes to show like what a significant impact that program has, and like food banks can't absorb 100% of that loss, you know? And, you know, SNAP is awesome because families can go to the grocery store. They can pick out exactly what they need for their families. You know, as much as we try to simulate a grocery store at our food bank, we do come up on those challenges just because we can't replicate what families get to experience when they go into a grocery store. So SNAP is a super important program for getting families exactly what they need, culturally appropriate foods. Yeah. You know, each family is so different in how they approach their meals, and they should have like that autonomy to make those decisions because they know what's best for their families. So it'll be really interesting just to see how the rest of this plays out. But thank you for representing us in DC.
It was interesting, and I'm glad I went. I mean, if these SNAP cuts go through, it's going to make things a lot more difficult. Once again, we have a state legislature that will probably help a little bit, but we are also in a deficit in our state, which means that it's hard to get things through. And I just think it will make food insecurity show up in more and more ways. I mean, I think a lot of people get lost in, and we've talked about this a lot here, but people get lost in the terminology, because when people say like food insecurity, they think sometimes it means that someone's starving. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means that families are cutting corners where they shouldn't have to. So whether it means, you know, they have to pull their kids out of school, they have to work longer hours, they have to make sacrifices on healthcare, things that we really shouldn't be making, that we should not be sacrificing just to feed ourselves. That's right. When we have an abundance of food. That's right. In the world, in the United States especially. In the U.S. especially, there is an abundance of food. Yeah. And so we can continue to provide a high quality of produce and proteins, but the selection that we give people is never going to be able to compare to, say, like a Whole Foods, a Safeway, a QFC, where they have those huge budgets that SNAP could give people the choices that they deserve to, as you said, feed their families in ways that, you know, preserve their dignity and allow them to cook foods that they're familiar with. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's accepted at a lot of different different types of grocery stores. Like I think Hong Long takes SNAP. Yeah. So, you know, that
and the farmers market does too.
The farmers market, like that's such a great opportunity for families to get farm fresh foods if that's what they're looking for. It's like probably one of the most important programs that we have in this country to support families. And it's, you know, you hear all sorts of stories about who's using SNAP, and it's not, you know, there's a lot of rhetoric around like lazy people or that are using SNAP, or, you know, they just need to find a job. And it's like, that's just not who is using it. It's like a lot of working families, a lot of elders that are taking care of their grandkids, you know, having to support family just because like rent is so high across the country, you know, wages are stagnant. And so, you know, getting people food is like the bare minimum of what we should be doing. And so to see that being taken away is
heartbreaking.
Yeah. Depressing. Yeah. I was really trying not to like make this episode depressing.
Okay, we'll bounce back.
And you did a nice job bringing us back during the last round where I felt like I was circling the drain.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if like, obviously we're sort of facing this federal, this looming federal beast or giant that could cause issues in our world and just in the national landscape. But we do have programs in our state that provide SNAP benefits for those who do not qualify. And the good news, I mean, the good and bad news is like the good news is communities are stepping up.
Yeah.
We heard amazing stories in DC about Minnesotans stepping up during Operation Metro Surge and really coming through for their communities. And we've experienced it ourselves. We experienced it in November last year, and we've continued to experience it with generous donations. I don't think that should be the long-term solution, but it is a Band-Aid that I hope can help us endure until things change. And I am optimistic that things will change, at least with that. I mean, you can only take so much away before it becomes untenable.
Right.
And there's a breaking point that is rapidly going to be reached, I think. I hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess that didn't really bring up the...
It
the mood
did.
there.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah.
I am optimistic too, particularly because of where our organization is and like what we've experienced during like some of these really challenging moments, and just seeing how food also brings people together, and all the ways that we're able to do that, not just like in the grocery store, but, you know, we did a food waste reduction class recently that turned out to be like this really fun cooking class, and just getting to see people come together through food, and then, you know, people sending the chef, you know, their pictures of what they made at home after they learned from her is like really special, and a good reminder in these moments like I'm having, that like things will get better. It just, you know, it is challenging.
Yeah. I think the majority of people continue to show me that they do care. We do pop-up food banks or mobile food banks every week at different, generally assisted living facilities. But at almost every single one, I get fed lunch.
Well,
So-
the aunties feed you?
I get fed by aunties
Yeah.
most times. So I've gotten to eat a lot of really delicious Vietnamese and Khmer food.
Oh my gosh.
And these are from people who are technically food insecure, right? But they do want to give back, and they make very delicious hot dog fried rice.
Yum. I love hot dog.
Oh, it's so good.
I love hot dog fried rice.
You know, spam fried rice. Ooh.
Spam fried rice is delicious. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about the generosity of folks that come through this organization, and the way that they give maybe looks different, but it's so filled with love and appreciation and respect. And I mean, I'm like, what a better way to show someone you care than give them a delicious meal? Like, that just hits on so many different levels. Like, that's really sweet.
Yeah, it's really cute. And
Really
then,
special.
One of our high
You
school...
are a celebrity around here.
I am. Our high school intern. Our high school intern is also getting quite popular, Carlos. So
Oh, with the aunties.
yeah, with the aunties. He comes back with a Red Bull or a different type of Southeast Asian energy drink every time he does home deliveries. Although don't tell anyone he gets those.
Oh,
They're
too
fine.
late.
He's allowed to have them.
Okay. Wait, so does he like energy drinks?
He does now.
Oh.
I don't know before.
I thought they like learned he liked Red Bull or something, and
He just started coming with them every time.
Oh.
I figured the last time he came back with a different one that I had never seen before. But Anthony knew what it was because it was apparently it's from Cambodia, and so it's just funny. Carlos said it was delicious. Shout out to Carlos.
Hey, Carlos. Do you think he listens to the podcast?
I hope so.
Well, we did hire a new staff person as well. I guess this isn't really it wasn't Q1, but it was like right at the beginning of Q2.
Q2.
Yeah. We added a team member to our volunteer team. So Anthony is our new volunteer coordinator, working with Heather on volunteer support.
Yeah.
So that's super exciting and awesome, and something we had mapped out for our strategic plan to happen next year. But because the organization is moving at such a good momentum, we were able to add that position early. So we're pretty excited about that. We'll have to have him on the podcast.
I'm sure that he'll be on here soon enough.
Yeah.
He'll do good. What else? Anything else to bring? Oh, I guess sort of bringing up our strategic plan.
Mm-hmm.
We are entering the growing season, which is really exciting. A really fun time to be here. We have a lot of amazing grants with King County producers. And we shot in our strategic plan for about 25% of our produce to be locally purchased King County like farm food, and I'm fairly certain we're there. I think we kind of shot past it. I don't want to give a hard number yet because I haven't done the numbers, but feeling pretty confident.
Yeah.
And we've got these amazing new partners. We're working with Osh Farms. We're working with Gracie's Greens. We're working with Kearsop. I could keep going, but we just have a bunch of amazing farmers. A lot of them are King County farmers, and they're BIPOC farmers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just bringing us in the most beautiful stuff. And so it's been really amazing to see stuff come in. I think we're going to start getting some mustard greens next week.
Yay!
We got some daikons coming. We have bok choy coming. So a bunch of culturally familiar produce grown by first gen and also migrant farmers.
Cool. I gave a presentation, I don't know, in March about your work, but it was 17% at that time is what I was projecting for 2026. I think there are some updates to make to that because of like some of the spending we did with where did we get the jam from?
No, Sea-Doo Farms. Yeah,
okay.
Sea-Doo Farms.
Sea-Doo Farms.
And then also there's all the Snow Valley mushrooms, too.
And the Snow Valley mushrooms.
Yeah.
So those were
Shout out to those guys, too.
expenses that I hadn't included yet. So it's on my to-do list to update that, actually, for another grant we're applying for. But it's pretty exciting because, I mean, that 25% we had mapped out for, 2029. Yeah. And we're going to achieve that sooner than 2029. So it's been also really exciting to see like the goals that we're achieving as part of our strategic plan. And then something that I always like to talk about too is that we're using our strategic plan as well. And that's really a testament to the staff. The staff are the ones that put it together. You know, they're the experts in the work, so it makes sense for them to like decide what their goals are going to be for the next 5 years, and they're doing it too. So, way to go.
Yeah, having buy-in on that strategic plan development was really amazing, and I would highly recommend it to other organizations that are looking into it.
Likewise.
What else? I mean, it is super evident whenever we start getting local food. I've had multiple folks ask me when it's starting to start coming in. Obviously, during the off season, we get a little bit of local produce, and it's always amazing to get that. But starting around this time every year is when it starts to get really exciting. I've had multiple aunties and grandmas and grandpas ask me when it's coming.
Oh, really?
I
love
Nia,
that.
Yeah, at Nia House, they know.
They want
They
the
know when the
fresh
local stuff
produce.
comes.
Oh my gosh, that's the
Yeah.
best.
Peas should be coming out of the ground, I think, next week. That's what I'm excited for.
We started gleaning at West Seattle Farmers Market too.
Thank you.
did.
So
That's right.
saw some beautiful produce going out on the floor this morning.
That's true. Thank
And
you,
it's
Jefferson.
like 400 pounds already each pickup.
I think
more.
I think we're up to 500
500 now.
And this, compared to last year, this is even more. So
Wow.
we're just seeing this number go up, and that's sort of a testament to these amazing farmers who work there,
Yes.
and also a testament to our amazing volunteers who show up for us every Sunday during the growing season. Like me, Heather, and Mike are often staff members on call to make sure that we can show up whether or not volunteers come through, but we barely ever have to do anything, honestly. It's we have an amazing community here who are doing hard work for us and even networking for us, and talking farmers' ears off in a good way. So those relationships are paying dividends, and I think most farmers you meet, local farmers, are extremely passionate people who want their food to go somewhere worthwhile, and I think they see our organization as something worthwhile, and that's we're honored. So it's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Had some good food drives come in too.
We have. We just did the Stamp Out Hunger food drive. We got about 10,000 pounds from that. Although we actually brought more in today, so that might be up to
12.
It might be up to 12 now, which is close to last year. We did a big one from Ridwell has continued to show up for us this year as well with dry food. They've given us multiple pallets worth of food. I think at least 8,000 pounds worth now through the year. And then we just did a big pickup recently too from Mannheim. Thank you. That was about 2,000 pounds. And then like Randy and I have been doing like Ranch 99 pickups.
Mm-hmm.
We got like 2,000 pounds last week from them. A lot of different sources to sort of fill the pot, especially when it comes to dry food purchasing, canned foods, things that just go on the shelves. Those are probably our hardest things to stock right now. And so food drives like that are always appreciated.
Yeah. And like shelf stable items are just a little bit harder for us to purchase too, right?
Yeah. So to speak on that, buying produce and protein is quite easy compared to dry food. And the reason for that is when you're buying produce and protein from sort of an operations procurement standpoint, you can find local sellers who are able to easily get you product day of or week of. When you go into dry food, you're looking at canned goods. You're looking at all these things that are much more shelf stable, which means that generally there are not as many local sellers of them. And so to order them, it means you're probably ordering from somewhere really far away. You have to account for energy costs. You cannot get day or week of deliveries. And the prices associated with them are higher than you would expect. So generally you're going to be paying like $1.50, $2 per can. And those prices just add up. Like I'm sure everyone here can speak to it. Whenever we get an amazing food drive where I was like, wow, look at all this food. But it's gone in about a month or two. Because really we're serving at least 300 families a day generally. And so if you just think 300 families, all of them grabbing, 8 or 9 canned goods when they're going through the store, because that's what you need to feed your family for a week. That stuff goes pretty quick. And if you think about how much your family consumes in a week, it makes sense. Mm-hmm. But those costs, they add up.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that makes sense because like with shelf-stable items, vendors just have more leeway because there's no like quick expiration date. Correct. Whereas like produce, like it's fresh, so it needs to go out a little quicker. Yeah. So,
and also we've bought some dry goods from local farmers, like with Sea-Doo Farms and stuff like that. Oh yeah, and so we've found ways to sort of integrate some dry goods onto our shelves. But it is hard to find like a local corn canner, for example, or something like that, or someone who's canning peas. Like that'd be really cool. But I don't, to the best of my knowledge, they don't exist at scale in Washington. We have some canned fish people. We definitely have people who can can us fish. And we do get stuff from those folks every once in a while. So, but in terms of like canned bulk goods or like bags of chips, like there's some folks doing it, but it's to find a wholesaler who can get it to us and get it to us reliably is a tough proposition. Maybe we'll be able to tackle it one of these days, though.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's sort of on
Interesting
my
idea.
it's on my to-do list to see if I can figure it out. Although no guarantees on that one, because if it doesn't
Yeah,
exist, I
don't
can't
make
just make
any
it appear out of
promises.
thin air. Yeah, yeah.
So if someone listening is like really interested in doing a food drive for White Center Food Bank, what types of foods would you encourage them to collect?
I would say if you're going to try and do a food drive, obviously dry foods are the answer. We love when we see any sort of canned proteins. And when I say protein, I mean meat. Canned protein's really nice. Condiments that are culturally familiar to our East and Southeast Asian community are always beloved. So soy sauce, fish sauce, rice noodles, instant ramen, all these things will move quick. Spam is a gold.
Spam is very popular.
Oil is always really nice. But then sort of other basic staples. So like, let's say like peanut butter, jelly, things that like almost everyone in the United States knows how to eat. Things that we get a lot that I don't need as much are going to be stuff like canned beans, certain legumes, like, although give us nuts. We do like nuts. But like lentils, beans, anything that you can get like in bulk, dry. We often have a lot of that, and we'll name it if we ever need more. But yeah, is there anything else? I would say that canned fruit's also pretty good.
Spices like salt, pepper.
Spices are always good
Those
too.
are always good.
Yeah. If I wouldn't say no to chips and snacks. People do ask for those. And then beverages, soy milk, baking goods.
And I'll just add, there's a great list right on our website.
That is true.
Food drive, so you can download your own list and QR codes to donate and get your own food drive started.
And please do that. And that list is accurate.
So I think we've been talking about this on the podcast here and there, but our recipe book, our first edition, is getting ready to launch here in the next month or so. Randy has been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to pull it all together and make it happen, and it's happening. It's at the publisher. It's being printed, so stay tuned for that. As a reminder, it's a collection of recipes from mostly our customers here at the food bank, but you'll see some staff and volunteers included as well. So stay tuned for that because we're super, super excited. Our spring appeal did hit mailboxes a week ago or so. So, if you got that, just a reminder to, send it in and read through our annual report as well, so you can take a look at what White Center Food Bank had been up to in 2025. Joey's produce purchasing is featured in there. We've got a QR code to our strategic plan too, if you want to look at that yourself and just kind of see what we've mapped out for our organization for the next few years. And then there's a really sweet customer story towards the end, someone that has been using the food bank for a long time and just kind of what White Center Food Bank means to him. So be sure to read through that.
Make sure you retweet the Instagram story or no,
Retweet.
What's the word?
We're not. No.
Repost the Instagram story. Sorry.
Wow, you sound like me.
I sound like a millennial.
Yeah.
I am
Older millennial.
I know. Repost the Instagram story for the spring appeal, please.
And then June 20th, the big day.
June 20th. Taste of White Center is the fifth annual Taste of White Center. Downtown White Center, 12 to 3. Get there early. There'll be a bunch of restaurants participating again. The team has been working on being able to increase the number of tickets. So ideally, we don't run out early, but we know that has occurred the last couple of years. And so the development team has been working hard on trying to address that for this year. It's June is a big, busy time for us, everybody in our area in general, but with the World Cup too, there's just going to be a lot happening. So come out for the Taste of White Center, come early. It should be a really fun time.
That's how I discovered the food bank, actually.
Oh my gosh, see?
4 or 5, was it 4 or 5
It could
years
be
ago?
your next job.
Yeah.
You never know. We'll have a mariachi band.
Thank you.
We're going to have a breakdancing competition, some amazing community partner vendors there, letting people know what's happening in the community. So
Kids play area.
It's happening.
Just a lot of amazing food.
That's right.
And so much good food. What else do we got? That's it for now?
That'll be it.
Okay. Well, that's going to conclude this episode of Keep the Community Fed podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at White Center Food Bank. And then this podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.